I've been thinking a lot about Northrop Frye when he was saying that the Romance form, which is the most popular form of literature, and the Romance form is the closest literary form to myth. Okay? Usually we don't think of myth as being authored by human beings, right? Myths and legends, this kind of thing. Especially myths, though. These are not authored necessarily by humans. This is communications coming from that identity we refer to as God in the Western world. So, romance is the closest form of literature to myth, where we're saying the romance is written by human beings. This is not coming to us from Mount Sinai or Mount Olympus, these kind of places. No, this is human imagination. So I've been thinking a lot about the romance form, which is where Northrop Frye says the end is the beginning transformed, right? And well, we can remember in Christian myth, right? I am the beginning and the end, this kind of thing. I believe Jesus says. So that's in myth and it's in romance. Now, I've been thinking to myself, this is the end of my life. And if the end here is the beginning transformed, I was saying to myself just a few minutes ago, what was my beginning? Because this end is horrific. I'm living under 24-hour harassment and it's life-threatening. And my wife and I have been under it now for a decade. And it's like living in a nightmare here at the end of my life. So I'm saying, if this is the end of my life, what was the beginning? So I was saying to myself, I've often thought that the man of the year must have known that I wasn't his son from the time I was born. So that means he was probably abusing me when I was a little infant and terrorizing me when I was in my crib or whatever. And that is one of the reasons my mother said I cried all night. I cried all night to make sure that goddamn guy was kept away and my mother was kept close to me. That's why I cried all night. And now, what am I doing now all the time? You hear John Lennon in his song to Yoko Ono saying that he's calling out Yoko's name at all times of the day. Well, I'm doing that too, but who am I calling out to? I'm calling out to my Zivug. I'm not going to say her name. Oh, well, I can say her name because I can say, even if I say her name, you don't know who she is, because if I say her name, there's lots of people who have that name. And I would say that by using this name means it could be anybody across the earth who has this name. So you can't pinpoint it down and haul me into court and imprison me and torture me again, the way you did in 1988. Can't do that. I hope. Maybe you can. So let me just call this person what I've been calling her, Beshuasi, which means my salvation in Hebrew. That's as close as I want to identify her. And what am I doing? What am I calling her? I'm calling her Mommy. This is something I haven't done since early childhood. Just like all other American kids, I moved on to calling my mother Mom. That's what I called her for most I called her all but until she passed away. I didn't call her mother, hey mother, no, Mom, like other Americans. But in earliest childhood, I did call her Mommy. Now, what am I calling my Zivug? Beshuasi. I'm calling her Mommy all the time. And when I'm going to sleep, I'm there without even being in control almost. I'm saying, Mommy, 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 like this when I'm going to sleep. I'm calling out Mommy, and I mean her, Beshuasi. That's who I mean when I'm calling out Mommy. She is Mommy to me, and so why am I doing that? That's another proof that at the beginning there, When I was a little infant, I was being terrorized by America's Man of the Year from the very beginning, and now this is the ending transformed. Bye for now.